If you have been sponsored for immigration to the United States on a permanent basis, either through your employer or through a qualifying family member in the United States, the first step of the process is either the approval of the I-130 petition for foreign relative or the I-140 petition for a foreign employee. Once that is approved, then you move on to the next step in the process, what is called immigrant visa processing. Once you complete your interview, your immigrant visa interview, that is not the final step. After that interview, you need to pay careful attention to take the appropriate steps to enter the United States and officially request the production of your green card. After your immigrant visa interview, what they will do is they will take your passport, and inside your passport, they will issue what is called an immigrant visa, which is essentially a sticker in your passport that has your image on it. It also has your biographic details. Now, an immigrant visa allows you to enter the United States for specific purposes to reside permanently in the United States. And the immigrant visa's validity is limited to typically a 6-month time period, and you need to enter the United States within the duration of that immigrant visa. So after your immigrant visa interview, and when you receive back your passport with that immigrant visa in it, make sure you pay attention to the validity date of that immigrant visa, and make sure you enter the United States before the expiration of that immigrant visa. If you fail to do so, you will need to restart the entire immigrant visa process from scratch. There are some exceptions to that, but you don't want to put yourself in that situation. Make sure you complete this final step before the expiration of that immigrant visa. Now, in order to do so, one of the first things you need to do is go to USCIS, and they will give you instructions in this packet that comes back with your passport and your immigrant visa in it to pay the immigrant visa fee. Now, this immigrant visa fee must be paid prior to you entering the United States on your immigrant visa, and is paid directly with USCIS. And when you pay that immigrant visa fee, you will receive an email with a tracking number or a receipt number from USCIS, which will then be used to track the production of your green card. Now, the green card production will not actually commence until you enter the United States. So once you get that immigrant visa in your passport, pay attention to that validity date, pay that immigrant visa fee, then enter the United States. And when you enter the United States on that immigrant visa, you will be entering for purposes of moving permanently to the United States. And CBP will also have you complete some forms at the port of entry. In those forms, they will ask where you want your green card to be mailed to. So you will need a U.S. address for the production of that green card, and it will be mailed to that U.S. address upon entry to the United States. Now, when you're admitted to the United States, you will still be able to travel on that immigrant visa back and forth while you're waiting for the production of the green card. Also, it will allow you to work in the United States as well while you're waiting for production of the green card, as you will be admitted as a lawful permanent resident, and you will typically be given what is called an I-751 stamp as well in your passport. And pay attention to that stamp, because that stamp will also indicate when you are no longer permitted to travel outside of the United States. Typically, they're going to admit you on an I-751 stamp for a 1-year time period while you're waiting production of that green card. Now, once you have entered the United States and you have requested the production of that green card, then you are a lawful permanent resident in the United States. At that point, you should have made plans to reside permanently in the U.S. The U.S. at this point is now your place of permanent residence. Anytime you're going abroad, you are visiting abroad. You're not visiting the United States. The United States then becomes your place of permanent residence. That's very important to understand. Once you have that green card, now you need to abide by the conditions of that green card. So, after you've been approved for your immigrant visa, that's not the final step. Make sure you pay close attention and complete these final steps so that you actually receive your green card. Make sure you pay that immigrant visa fee. Make sure you enter within the validity of that immigrant visa. And make sure you establish your residence in the United States and have a U.S. address where they will be able to provide you with that produced green card after you've paid that immigrant visa fee. If you have any other questions about U.S. immigration or the immigrant visa process, we'd be glad to help.